Well, thank you so much. There is a real risk that I could talk for a hell of a long time, so it's probably good that I have to get off so you can eat. This is a very, very moving night for a lot of people in this room. I can't believe the Kaplan Foundation started 10 years ago, but I guess it did. And yeah. And I want all the students to know that for a lot of us associated with the foundation, the moment when you all came up and stood in front of the stage was a heck of a moment. I loved seeing all of you and thinking of what's gone on in your lives. This room is full of people who've worked for the Kaplan Foundation, given to the Kaplan Foundation, given time to the Kaplan Foundation and its students and to CUNY. And I want to talk about three things. First, I want to talk about the students. As a pretty much regular at this dinner, I've met more than half of you over the years, either while you were graduating from CUNY or while you were coming back from your first year in college or after your graduation from college. Somebody did a fantastic job of selecting this group, and it was hard because, as you know, a lot of people wanted these scholarships, and you do not get 88% graduation rates among students going from 2 to 4 year colleges and going to unfamiliar places. And while the Kaplan Foundation can take some of the credit for that, the credit really goes to you. The students, the Kaplan Foundation opens a door, but an amazing group of students has gone through it. And that says a lot about CUNY, a subject to which I'll return in a minute. You're going to hear a much longer speech in a few minutes about Jonathan Grayer, but I cannot stand at this mic on this night and not say a word about Jonathan. Graham Holdings, of which I'm now proud to be the chairman, is about a $2.5 billion company. Well over $1 billion of that is Kaplan. Today's Kaplan was founded, as we all know, by Stanley Kaplan, a high school teacher at Madison High School in Brooklyn in 1938, and sold to us many years later. Today's Kaplan was founded by Jonathan. He and a group of people, almost all of whom are in this room, as good luck would have it, got together working at Kaplan in 1991 and transformed a place that had been struggling, had been losing money, had been losing market share, and was kind of feeling beaten and downcast. And Jonathan put together and led the group that transformed it. It is today an international education powerhouse. It succeeds all over the world. It helps students all over the world in amazing ways. This is the guy who started it and built it. And a lot of us in this room are really grateful for and proud of a chance to say thank you to him tonight. But one of the greatest things Jonathan did on his own, figuring out the program with dear friends as he went along, was to start this foundation. And so I have to say, Jonathan, your idea was great, and the execution has been fantastic. Nancy, Jennifer, and the team that's run the Kaplan Foundation over the years have been absolutely great for us to work with and great for CUNY to work with. But you're gonna love meeting all the students who benefited from this idea and seeing its realization. And that brings me to our other group of partners in this room who are from CUNY. Could everybody in the room working for CUNY stand up, please? All the CUNY faculty and... So I spent my life in the newspaper business, and last month, JB was nice enough to send me a really lousy piece in the New York Times about CUNY and all the troubles you were having, and The reporter actually wrote with a straight face that one of the problems was that in the last 5 years, the tuition had gone up by $300. I looked up and found that the reporter had gone to Yale, and that the Yale tuition in the last 5 years had gone up $9,000. But it's hard, I guess, to put things in context when you're a reporter at the New York Times. We at Kaplan have a little experience with them, too. I come from a city that doesn't have CUNY. I come from Washington, D.C., and have spent a lifetime there. This is a precious institution for this city, for the state, and for the United States of America. I got a chance to look at it in a new light for myself in the last 3 years because, as you were nice enough to mention, I started a scholarship program called the Dream.US, which serves undocumented students, and it turned out that hundreds of undocumented students were desperate to go to CUNY and desperate for the money to do it. I don't know that I'm certain that there's no institution in the United States, unless you count the whole University of California system or something like that, that serves the number of undocumented kids that CUNY did. So I came up and had a lunch with the Chancellor. Yeah. So a former CUNY employee named Iris Weinschel should get a shout out here, now the president of the New York Public Library, because she introduced me to JB at a very pleasant occasion 3 years ago. And I came up and we had lunch together. And I told him about the Dream.US and said we were the largest scholarship program for undocumented students in the country. We'd gotten off to a great start at Miami-Dade and in California and Texas and other places, and we really hadn't gotten off to that great a start with CUNY. And he said, you can relax. I'm going to make this, I want to significantly increase the amount of outreach, the already large outreach we do to Dreamers. And I am going to make this program work at CUNY because everybody at CUNY already believes in the values that you're doing. Everybody at CUNY is behind a program like this, and we're going to make it work together. Working with CUNY has been unbelievable. I have to tell you that the Dream.US looks for universities around the country at this price point, and there aren't many. But where you find one, and where that university comes through for the students, it's amazing. Now, the Chancellor of CUNY has, well, we could say, a challenging job. I understand that there's some education involved, and I understand there's a tiny bit of politics involved. That's just what I hear. I'm a stranger here myself. But I just want to say this. I hope everybody in New York City is rooting for you every day they wake up, pal, because so much of what makes the city great depends on the university system you lead. We need CUNY big time. We need a successful, and I'm so glad that the Kaplan had the foundation had the wisdom to recognize that, to reach out to CUNY to identify that as the best source of the kind of students we were looking for. And now I'm glad that CUNY has the chance to be led by an experienced educator, a man who cares desperately about first-generation low-income students, and I can flat tell you based on personal experience, a man who comes through. J.B. Milliken, come up here and accept this award.
You thought I could go an entire evening without you mentioning the New York Times. But, you're like the least likely source for that, too, I would think. But the one thing I did learn tonight is that Don's an adjunct faculty member, so I've got a deal for you at CUNY. I'm glad you recognize the members of our Board of Trustees and the presidents who are here from our community colleges that help lead those institutions where these great students come from, and some of our faculty here today as well. You know, in the spirit of this season with the Tonys 2 nights ago, whenever I share a stage with our students, I feel like I should take Aaron Burr's advice to Alexander Hamilton to heart. Smile more, talk less. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to talk much less. But I do want to thank Rachel and Kudus. You're sort of uncomfortable as Stanford guy in this room, I think. But and all the other students, many of whom I have met before tonight, and many of whom I've met tonight, who come to us from Bronx Community College, LaGuardia Community College, Kingsborough Community College, the Borough of Manhattan Community College, these great institutions at CUNY where 100,000 New Yorkers get their start in higher education in this city. And it's always great to see these students and be reminded and to listen to them and recognize the talent that is being unleashed. Whenever I see these students, I am reminded, and I want them to be in front of every audience in this city, because I'm reminded of the compact that we have, the promise that we have to this city that they demonstrate for us in ways so much better than I can. And that's, we say to the federal government, we say to the state of New York and Albany, we say to City Hall, and we say to private philanthropies. If you invest in our students, if you help us take some of these hundreds of thousands of talented, ambitious, striving students in New York City who otherwise wouldn't have a chance to go to college, if you help us at CUNY, you will be rewarded so many times over by what they pay back, by what they give back to their communities, by what they give back to this city, by what they accomplish in their lives. So I thank you for that, because you're the proof that this is a tremendous compact, a tremendous bargain for the people of this country and the people of our state. So I thank you again, Don. I thank you, Jonathan, for this idea, which is now fully formed, and so many students have benefited from it, and I'm hoping so many more in the future. This is a terrific partnership. Don, anytime you want to come see me to talk about things that you can do for CUNY and our students, I'm delighted, because so far every time has been a great success. So thank you very much. It's great to be here tonight on behalf of my colleagues from CUNY, on behalf of the 500,000 students that are part of the City University of New York every day. I'm the lucky guy who gets to represent them and be here tonight. So thank you very much for that.